Hey everyone, it's Chris, MTGO's Rex Dart, and we're checking in on some other round one action here in the Tribal Apocalypse Invitational. And this is I believe this turned into the 8-9 match. Seedings got bumped around a little bit between Nagarjuna and AJ Impey. Definitely some heavyweights of the event who've been playing for a long time. Now, Nagarjuna looks like is on Plant. It's Bant, Plant Bant. He is playing against AJ, who I can't figure out from looking at this what AJ is on. They are probably on their second game. I finished my opponent off 2-0, so pretty quickly in the second one since he got mana hosed. And AJ likes to play Coalition Relic. That's one of his favorites. So I don't know, Wrath of God on a Wall of Blossoms, and I guess to get rid of the token. I guess next turn Garrett could have fought his own wolf and flipped, but I don't know if that was what he was going for. Yep. If I chose to play the Vidalcan ramp deck that I played for round one, but my second choice was to play Plant Ramp because I think that Sylvan Caryatid kind of finally finishes off that creature base very well. Prior to that, you were probably playing a full play set like Utopia Tree, and you probably may still play one or two copies of Utopia Tree in that deck. But Plant Ramp looked to me like that would be a good place to be as well. But since the finishers that I wanted to use, since the Path to Exile, Sword Splashers, all the white exilers were banned for this event, so I wanted to use Wormcoil Engines. I figured that was where I wanted to be today. So I figured I was running a set of those. I might as well just do an artifact ramp deck with Grim Monoliths and the Vidalcans and what have you. But Plant Ramp, I think, is also a good choice. Apparently he's doing plants and walkers here. Not sure if he has any big creature finishers or not. Now AJ is known, if you're not a regular follower of this event, for playing a lot of board sweepers. And walkers are good against that, obviously. Now he's got using with this Krosan Verge here and these dual lands to try to power through to his Maria, and he appears to have gotten an Ashen Rider into the bin somewhere along the line. Not quite sure what he used to do that. And an Archon, a couple of Archons. Oh, Jace milling him. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Because Nagarjuna milled AJ for 10, and AJ's getting close to having an Emeria active with an Ashen Rider and all these Archons in the graveyard. So I'm not sure if I would have milled him 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 by taking the extra off the Coalition Relic. So Blazing Archon comes down. And can Nagarjuna deal with a Blazing Archon? Remember that Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares and Oblivion Ring are all banned because they're part of the, quote, Tribal 9. So Detention Sphere, however, is still available if he has that. Okay, he's got his own Wrath there. Let's see. AJ only has 5 planes, and although this milling him thing caused a potential danger with Emeria, it now does appear that he's going to have AJ milled out before AJ can really get Emeria active. Now we've got a Chainer's Edict, 2 Chainer's Edicts in the yard that are castable but don't really do much. if I was AJ, I wouldn't be terribly worried about that wolf because he's in much more danger of getting milled out by Jace. AJ says you're not going to like this. AJ loves him some big haymaker plays, that's for sure. He's and Slug says something in Spanish that I can't read there. Celestial Archon, I guess hard cast there. And a Recurring Nightmare. So one of Kumagoro, the event host's favorite cards, Recurring Nightmare, coming into play here. Nagarjuna says he's only milling, and AJ says that's what he did wrong, because, yeah, filled up that yard quite nicely. And so Ashen Rider's going to come in, and I assume it's going to take out that Jace, because, yeah, that's the biggest threat right now. Well, I certainly picked an interesting one to tune in for you guys here. I'm glad I did. So when it dies, it also exiles a permanent. Of course, he can swap it out for something with Recurring Nightmare if he feels the need to get rid of anything else. Garrick, meanwhile, will make another wolf. And there's a Wall of Blossoms just to try to draw into some more action. And the Ashen Rider is going to crash in here for 5. And let's see if AJ's got another insane play here. He's going to recast Recurring Nightmares. He must have... I don't know where he got... Oh, yeah, he has a Chromatic Lantern. I'm like, how did he cast that off of 2 planes in a Temple Garden? Archons, when they only had like about 6 members, people still did try to play them. And they were, in the Reanimator strategy, were at least fringe playable even then. As an underdog tribe. In the regular events, you would have better tribes, Praetors, for instance, but in an underdog event, they're quite good. However, very, very recently, for this event, since we're playing with the Tribal 9 cards band, the most popular 9, which includes Entomb, you have to come up with another way to use that strategy. But going forward for this year, I think that Archon Reanimation could be definitely a player in the underdog events. Not sure if we need to watch time here or not. I'm assuming that this is game 2, because when I tuned in it looked like they had just began. So he used the Ashen Rider to Death Trigger to knock off Garrick, and swapped it in for an Archon of Justice, and then replayed the Recurring Nightmare, got rid of the Archon of Justice to pop off one of Nagarjuna's lands, and bring back in the Ashen Rider and take out another land. So the plains is now gone. So it's very unlikely that Nagarjuna is going to be able to do anything about that Ashen Rider. We've seen Wrath of God, but he's nowhere near getting 2 white mana, and now that this engine is online, he never will be. Okay, yeah, I think if he had had like a detention sphere, I think that was probably his best hope there, um, to get rid of that Ashen Rider and stop that cycle from continuing. I think he could have had a chance there, but absent a detention sphere, it looks like AJ's Recurring Nightmare Archon engine is online and should be able to seal the deal. But like I said, we didn't get to see round or the first game, so I'm not sure who is up here. Recurring Nightmares coming back, and AJ's going to do his thing. It should be all over in a couple of turns. Nagarjuna nowhere near enough on board to try to race here. So Recurring Nightmare is going to once again take out the Archon and bring back in the Ashen Rider. And then I would get rid of the blue here, yeah. And just again, because I'm assuming Detention Sphere would be Nagarjuna's most likely out if he's playing it. And now that keeps him off of. If he had taken out the forest, Nagarjuna could have still top decked Detention Sphere. Okay, well, it looks like AJ won there. So let's see if there's any other matches ongoing. It looks like Kumagoro versus Mile Gaian and Nevim. I really don't know there, but all right. Okay, Kuma's on Sphinxes. This is a tribe that he's liked to play in the past. Oh, and Miscalculation, a rarely seen counter spell, but a nice one. There will, of course, be some matches where counter spells are not good, and being able to cycle it away. No indication here what Miles on. Okay, looks like he is on. He's on Jace. Jace Tribal. Say foil from the Vaults 20 Jace there. Kumagoro says you know what's coming, right? I obviously don't, since I didn't see games 1 and 2. But Miles sure does. Sphinx of Dwar Isle. Yeah, that fellow right there cannot be bounced by Jace. He passes the Jace test. We used to play with him in Blue-White Control. Back in 2010. Then when the Titans got printed, that kind of knocked Sphinx of Dwar Isle out of prominence. Discussed this in my Sphinx Week article from, I think that was November or December, don't recall which, on Pure MTGO. Drakes. So Mile is on Drakes, I'm going to assume, from this. I tried building Drakes once. I wanted to do that thing with Sea Drake. He's a 4/3 flyer for 3 mana, but you have to return 2 lands. But you can play him off like a City of Traders and a Chrome Mox or something, since you don't have 2 lands in play. it fizzles because it says to target lands, so not up to. So I tried to do one of those builds, but it was not particularly consistent. All right, so he's going to chump Sphinx of Jwar Isle here to keep Jace alive. Having not seen the rest of Miles' deck, not really sure what he's looking for as an out here. He could overload a Cyclonic Rift or something like that, but he's, I think, 1 mana short of that if he's playing that, which sometimes these mono blue decks do play that in Tribal. Alright, he's just going to play a Stitch Drake. If he has a second Stitch Drake, he might be able to do something here. At least provide enough of a defense that I don't think Kuma is going to want to attack into. But okay, Seacoast Drake. I mean, that can double block Conundrum Sphinx, but it isn't going to get anywhere other than just chumping with Sphinx of Jwar Isle. So Kuma can safely attack with both if he's willing to lose the Conundrum Sphinx. Basically trade it for Stitch Drake and get Jace off the board by attacking Jace with both. And again, that's Kuma's got white and black mana in there, so I'm not sure what his splash spells might be, but in the past, when he's played Sphinxes, he has also played Living Death, so that's at least possible. It's not something that he would get any value out of here, so it's something to keep in mind. Because Vexing Sphinx allows you to put some guys in the yard, and then you can use the Living Death. It's obviously it's very good against an aggro opponent, but probably not relevant here. Although we'll see what the board state brings next turn. So unless Mile has like a Unsummon or Vapor Snag or something like that, it looks like Jace is going down. Well, no, hang on. Sphinx attacked Jace solo, and Conundrum Sphinx is going to the face. So if they want to kill the Conundrum Sphinx, they can double block it, but Jace is going down. Alternatively, he could just chump Sphinx with Seacoast Drake. Chump the Jwar Isle Sphinx with Seacoast Drake and let Conundrum Sphinx just come in for the 4 damage and keep Jace alive. Jace is about the only thing that Mile has going on right now that's any good, so I think I'd want to protect that. Kumagoro has named Curse of the Swine, a card that has gained some strange popularity recently in Tribal Wars, in mostly in mono blue decks that don't have a lot of other ways to deal with tough creatures. But see if I can get it to bring the card up. There you go. There's Curse of the Swine. It's from Theros. So we know Kuma has that in his deck. You have to target the creatures and get rid of them, and they put a boar onto the field. So turn your opponent's flying drakes into mud-wallowing pigs. So now Mile is going to have to name a card as well. So Kumagoro actually got his Curse of the Swine. Of course, he has Sphinx of Dwarile out, so he knows what's on the top of his deck. You guys were a nice little combo there. This combination, of course, did exist in Standard at the same time as Zendikar and M11, but was never anything more than just purely casual. Oh, well, could that be a game changer here? Sword of Fire and Ice. So he went with the double block to clear the Conundrum Sphinx off and let the Jace go. So now Sword of Fire and Ice. The Seacoast Drake is going to crash in. Effectively for 5 a turn, since that 2 points is going to be going to the face. And Mile will draw a card. And play another Seacoast Drake. And ship the turn back. Be interesting to see if Kuma has anything that can take care of that Seacoast Drake. Curse of the Swine for 1 there. I don't think I've ever actually seen this. This is this is an adorable board token. It really is. It's got the guy's little helmet there. Oh, that's classic. So Vexing Sphinx coming in now. I really, that's cute. It really is. God bless you, James Ryman. All right, so Seacoast Drake is still going to be a problem here. Now, Kuma can't really block the boar with Vexing Sphinx unless he's willing to lose the Vexing Sphinx, because Sword of Fire and Ice could pop it for the 2 damage. So while I understand that he did want to get rid of that Drake so that he could beat in for 5, all the same there, that Curse of the Swine did not turn out to be an extremely valuable play. Alright, there were no age counters on that Vexing Sphinx since he had just cast it, so Kuma gets nothing. And a Peregrine Drake comes in, and that is part of that cycle from Urza's Saga where you get to untap all these lands. Peregrine Drake really never made the splash that, say, Time Spiral did. Somehow a 2/3 flyer just doesn't quite seem to live up to quite the same standard as drawing 7 cards. But and now Jace is back. So earlier on, I think that I would have thought Kumagoro was in an advantageous position here. Especially once he got the Jace off the board, but Sword of Fire and Ice has just changed everything up. And Kuma's going to think about his move here. Yeah, I know that he, from his past experience of Sphinxes, is very likely to have like living death in here. But Kuma's problem is that even casting a living death, while he's going to get more of a board out of that, he would lose his Sphinx, which is the creature that's, you know, definitely the best here right now on the board because of the Shroud. And he would still leave Mile with a Stitch Drake that he can suit up with the sword. Okay, so he is going to cast the Living Death. Now, if Mile has another creature, I think Kuma's going to be in trouble. Because he can... Stitch Drake can swing in there for effectively 7 this turn. Kuma can swing back for 12, but that's not going to do it. And if Jace decides to bounce something, then, you know, it'd only be 8 anyways. But and if Mile has another creature that he can transfer that Sword of Fire and Ice onto post-combat, then Kuma's going to have to suicide run there. Now, swords are pretty popular in Tribal, and so you would think that Kuma has something in his deck that can deal with one. You would expect, but no way to know. So Kuma down to 4. Jace plus 2s here. I guess so that no single Sphinx could take him off the board, but I think Kuma almost has to just go in to the face, but he's going to have to find some way to effectively race here. Vidalcan Shackles comes down. So Mile can steal a Conundrum Sphinx and equip that. Oh, interesting. Curse of Chains there. Beginning of each upkeep, tap it. So he could have stolen a Sphinx and equipped the sword to that, but I guess he figures he can steal the Vexing Sphinx and just block the Conundrum Sphinx with it, which is also fine. But the long and short of it is Kuma has to either get... He can't even really just get a creature off the... get the Stitch Drake off the board because that sword is there. And Vidalcan Shackles can just steal something. Steel Wind? Sphinx of the Steel Wind? Is that what he was... Kuma was looking for? Would Sphinx of the Steel Wind have been, and what does it have? Protection from red and green, and maybe it has haste. I can't remember. I think it might. Vigilance and haste and lifelink. Or am I getting it confused with the Chroma? Chroma has everything. Yeah, I don't know what Kumagoro could have that would get rid of that Sword of Fire and Ice, and barring that, Mile can just steal something, put the sword on it, and swing in for the win. Alright, well, that's GG's. So I will see you in round 2.